right, let's just jump into things. And that a little bit under the weather at the moment, so yeah, just try and make this a little bit of a quicker one. We've just had start off with the Aussie here. We've just had the RBA minutes coming out. Look, there wasn't anything sort of really new or shocking in there. Aussie has just been an absolute rip roar because I mean, look, we said last week 40 was the line. You can see here, nice defined, and as it was popping up. Bang. There's a good analogy with these sort of things, which I saw, years back, and that, and another sort of saying it's like trying to keep a, like one of those sort of inflatable balls, like a beach ball or something, down underneath water, and you hold it down, it pops back up. You hold it down, pops back up. Hold it down, pops back up. Eventually, once it comes through the surface, it goes bang and pops right up. And certainly that was the line, as I said on through a little bit of last week. So we've seen Aussie absolutely rip right up, smash through that price target that I had. We're right up into this sort of resistance zone up over here. We can see it on a higher time frame. This was like that sort of support area that we were trying to hold. Sort of like, it was, geez, I would say going back, but it was only just in July. So, it was very recent. This recovery has been absolutely monumental. Like, and I mean, imagine the amount of people that got stopped out down here. This is what you call capitulation, and this is where stops are hit ridiculously, drag on a bunch of shorts. We hit a new yearly low, and then it's just come back up, and it's just grinded and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed. So at the moment, look, we've just had the data out. Well, the minutes, nothing really sort of shocking over there. This is an area in which obviously we had marked out. You can see over here, this is where we thought we might sort of find some selling, and you can see it's just thinking about it in this zone here. I wouldn't be surprised if it probably looks for a little bit of a cool off here. I did want to sort of try and get the buys. As I said, this was just yesterday, to try and sort of like capture this next leg here, because I was saying, look, I definitely think we got some upside coming here. But obviously the pullback wasn't quite deep enough for me here, and it just powered all the way through. That's not to worry. So if we sort of drag this up over here now and we say, look, where might we be looking for a bit of a pullback? Have this off here. So we've got sort of, you line it up with levels that we've sort of seen previously, and that it didn't really seem to do too much around here, but this is obviously that big sort of round number, 67. It's hadn't thought about it for a little bit yesterday, but that's still only at the 23% pullback. So you'd sort of think that even in a sort of actual sort of like, continuation move, you might want to sort of see it pull back here, grab some liquidity, let some people build up some stops, some short stops above this lot here to give you that next leg and that next push back up. Look, this is really holding up very well. And realistically, it comes down to it comes down to the sort of the fundamentals at the moment. And the fact is, RBA are coming out all guns blazing, hawkish as hell, and you've got US dollar selling down. We've got commodities ripping up. So, these things all combined is the reason why Aussie has just been catching a bid constantly and just grinding. I did also see it's only through IG, but like, commitment of their sort of commitment of traders, but like, retail, heavily short. So, and that was sort of like added on to the weak one. So, you know what I mean? A lot of sort of retail are trying to get short here, and this is just a straight grind, stopping them out. So eventually, look, this will sort of chill out. It'll come back a little bit. Excuse me. That's price target on the way up. So areas that we could say now, look, I think this is quite ambitious to sort of think that you're going to get a pullback down to this zone here, and certainly down over here. If you do, that'll be an area in which, you probably do look to buy it up a little bit. I mean, Aussie has been known for some pretty deep sort of pullback. 61% aren't uncommon for Aussie. And this is just, remember, just in this last move from, when was this, like Tuesday last week. So this is a week move here, like week in term of time, weeks long move. But I would say probably, if you can get around 67, 66, 70, and like, okay, I know it seems ambitious because we're quite sort of on a strong sort of upward trajectory at the moment, but that's a very steep sort of angle that it's very more recently coming up on. We drag this one across. There are a couple of like potential support areas that we can look for bounces a lot. Let's clean this up a little bit. So these are the kind of buy zones that I'd be looking for if they do sort of come here. Ultimately, look, I do believe we're going higher till we get some sort of data that sort of shows that, that Aussie's going to sort of RBA are going to sort of turn more dovish. I think ultimately we are going higher. I think sort of there's a good chance that we retest the highs back over here, and then of course I've got quite hefty sort of price targets way above way above 68 and 69. I think we've still yet to see our yearly high kind of thing. So, but that's the bigger picture. We're talking about the here and now. The here and now is look this little tight little area coming up here. I can see pull back down here. We'll probably look at 14 first. There's a little sort of little ledge along the way, but realistically, even if you come back to 67, that's just a round number. It's 23% of the pullback of this last move. I would say that's an area. Typically, I jump in too early with these things, but I'd say typically, I think that this could be an area. Depending on how fast it moves down to this area, we could also see a move back to this little trend line here, which again would sort of come in around that sort of 66.80 to 67. I don't think that's sort of sort of off the cards in that, because I mean we are sort of seeing quite a sort of strong sort of resistance area up here. I mean, this is what we have marked out. This is where it's come up. We know the sellers are going to be here and they're acting on cue. As I said, we did have the RBA minutes just out, but it wasn't anything new. Like, yes, they sound hawkish. Yes, they're going to keep the rates higher for longer, but that's no shocker. That's obviously already been slightly priced in by this move that's already gone up higher. So I think in the short term, we've got a bit of a pullback. As to how far, well, we'll get to wait to sort of see with it all, but these are kind of the buy zones that I'd be looking for. So we'll sort of follow up on that one. Flip across, we've got gold. Gold giving up this top up here. Didn't quite get up to this level that we were looking for. Again, we had that little pullback, pullback, push. So, we obviously know where the sellers are sitting now. So the sellers are just up around this zone over here. And we can sort of see, okay, what are they going to do? We know the buyers are down here. So it starts to make itself a little range through this area here. And I think this will be your sort of more directional kind of thing. We're seeing DXY give it a little bit of an effort off the lows, which is obviously sort of weighing on sort of metals a little bit. We could call this a breakout box, a bit of a consolidation. So I moved back down to 87, would be reasonable. I did try to get back in here at 85 or something, or 84 or something. Maybe I had it at 85 and I went back to 82 or something like this. However, I missed it just in this area here. So would have been nice to catch this next a little bit up here, but I did actually short a little bit up over here, and I've got a little bit short over here at 04 at the moment as well, which I'll sort of just move those stops to even, because again, look, I do think we are going higher, but it doesn't mean that we can't have moments of pulling back down along here. So a little bit of a consolidation. We are sort of looking, if we zoom right in on this, we could sort of say that this is a little bit of a support area through here, which you've just given up. So I mean, this is more sort of short term, but you can say, look, buyers are buyers, 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 buyers. They've allowed it through. You close down here, then I would say you're most likely looking back down bottom end of the range, just like this. So they're your more smaller zones inside this consolidation box. I wouldn't be surprised again. I mean, you can see that, like, if you put it like this, buyers were here, buyers are here. They've stepped up the bid a little bit here, but bottom of the consolidation box. Get a close out the bottom there. Well, you could probably look for a little bit of a deeper pullback. But for the here and now, I think that, particularly if this is on a 1 hour and it's 12:15, so I mean, it's still early in the hourly candle. This could flip back up to the top over here. I mean, you've seen it happen yesterday. Came down 95, boom, back up in $10 range. Very tight sort of through here. But certainly people are liking to buy this on any little dips. So it doesn't mean that it's going to sort of fall over. Just means that if you're sort of patient enough and you want to get long, well, you probably got some better options down in the 80s to sort of buy it and not have to hold that little bit of a drawdown there, depending on what your time frame pictures are. DXY, as I said, it's just coming off the lows up here. Look, RSI, this is on 1 hour again. RSI is sort of set up. Got a little alert set here. Look, I move that up just a touch in that to sort of say, look, you get back above this zone here. I wouldn't be surprised if we could probably see a little bit of a retest up here. And this goes in line with a bit of short-term metal weakness, a little bit of a pullback on the Aussie as well. If we see a push up here, I imagine the selling, like the previous year, we can see this candle here, support, broke through, retest, continue down, bang, bang, it's coming back up here now. I wouldn't be surprised. Similar to what we've had previously, these areas here, and it sells back down, back through, sells down. Obviously, this was the news-driven one, and I would imagine then it would be pretty much on with the show. But yeah, it's turnaround Tuesday, so you typically see a little bit of a sort of rebalancing with the positions and that. I mean, we just had a big run for 2 days on a couple of these things, with obviously DXY just being absolutely melted down here. So, I mean, if just for argument's sake, let's see if this gives us anything. No, it's kind of a little bit no man's land in that sort of, but certainly over the 127, you can see the 127 of this move. Retracement sort of tried to hold a little bit. It's come back down here. Look, I think it's going to be short-lived, but as I said, a little bit of a sort of rebalancing of these things. I wouldn't be surprised. And I think that's almost a little bit healthy. Grab some more liquidity, get some more people trying to buy the bottom, thinking that the US dollar is going to bounce back up further. Could always do that, but I'd imagine that you're probably going to see something along these lines here. I'd have to sort of finesse this one a little bit more, but something to this effect. We could just continue a bit of a channel. So I mean that's not really lining up with too much, but the general idea is the same there. Come up here, find some resistance, and then bang, sell down a little bit further. We flip across copper. Copper's another one that's, as you can see, this is what a trade this was. I love copper when it just plays to the chart perfectly. I mean, you don't get much better than this. Let's put it on a higher time frame. This was the negative divergence off the daily, so I'll just show that quickly. And this is why I love negative divergence, because they are just absolute incredible killer sort of indicators. This last push down here, we had the confluence because this was the breakout zone from back in March, which we can see through here. Came in, double tap, negative divergence, bang, right up through here. And again, you just got to look at these things. Wherever the seller's been, what's their sort of action, and that you can see it moved down here, made itself a little bit of a channel. You've got a confluence, so this was a confluence. You've got two segments of the market, people trading the channel, people trading the horizontals. They're both saying, yeah, cool, I'm going to take my profits here, and this is why we put our price target here, and this is why we tipped into it here, and this is why it's selling back down here. It doesn't mean it's over. It just means that sort of we've taken profit on that segment there, which is, that's part of that is the game. We're here to get paid. Finally, just quick across to China. China breaking out the bottom of this little consolidation box. This is this green area here we know is a very strong sort of buy area that the market has liked to hold. This 712 area, 712, 713 area, sorry. Look, it's seeing a little bit of a bounce up here to try and hold this. Again, I think in line with everything else, we could see a little bit of an attempt to rally up and then a push down, and I think we're getting very close to a major break on the one here. And as I said, for a long time, as ugly as this right shoulder is, I'm still calling this a bit of a head and shoulders. This is our neckline, and that's our big price target down the bottom here. So I think definitely 690 is probably a fairly reasonable sort of target as to sort of where it might be sort of heading soon. I have to sort of wait and see, but I'd say it's pretty much just a matter of waiting it out. All right, so let's just have a quick look. I don't think there's much on the news for the rest of the day. No, a bit of Euro news, a bit of CAD news. That's about it. I think that is it for it all. Have a quick look at silver, I suppose, because silver's just been performing very well in this comeback push as well. So if we have a look where we at in terms of retracement of this drop down, because remember silver got bashed pretty hard. It's coming up into the sell area. It's just thinking about it now. I still think we've got upside on silver as well. So maybe just let it chill for a little bit and then see another push up. It actually held up very well yesterday, all things sort of considered. And we actually saw a bit of a break higher. So it's really rocking along at the moment. What about 928 from a 950 high? Excuse me. Coming into a little bit overbought area, but I think sort of like, as I said, I think there'll be a little bit of a chill of this area. Maybe we get a little bit of a pull down. If we get underneath 29, I'll be sort of loading up again, and then looking for a bigger push back up to test this falling resistance. So I think this falling resistance will be what we call our little price target. I'll put it across this area here. Um, Whenever it comes into contact with this line here, I mean, depending on how fast it moves there, you're going to be coming into the 78% of this retracement here as well. But I think there's certainly area to run with this. If we can drag this almost across, that doesn't really give us anything, does it? If anything, a little bit of a fake out move to sort of come back up here. But again, look, this top side here, that's my price target with silver. All right, that's it from me. Ciao.